Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis. It's time for another edition of whatever this is. Roundtable. Yeah, that's what it is. It's been a long week. It's been a really long week. And here we are with some of my usual faces. We have Devin Comics with us here today. How's it going, Devin?
It's going pretty good. Hi, everyone.
And then next up we have Jen, a comic book girl.
Hi, everybody.
And then Mike down the far end there, Sergeant America. How's it going, Mike?
Oh, always good to see you, sir. Always good.
Right. Well, we're gonna talk some comics. Let's talk Marvel first this week because I figure I have plenty of questions in chatter if nobody else does, and this is the week I actually pick up the most Marvel books that I actually like. So, what do we want? What do we want to talk Marvel first? Anybody got a itch to talk?
Since I know nobody else collects it, Thunderbolts. The Thunderbolts versus Punisher and where that's going right now. It was beautiful artwork done by Sandova, and it had the two writers, Ben Acker and Ben Blacker. So it's been real interesting that they start off with the Avengers, investigating what's going on with the Thunderbolts, or at least they want to figure out. They know Frank Castle has something going on. At the end of Thunderbolts last month, it was Frank Castle quits, and the Red Hulk blows up his Frank Castle's safe house. Frank, of course, survives. The Punisher is now after the Thunderbolts, and everybody's wondering what's going on, and Red Hulk says to each of them, you can think about it, quit if you want, but we're going to keep accepting these bad guys and we're going to reform them. And each person makes their decision, so you get Ghost Rider, who is goes to a bar and gets in a big fight with a bunch of werewolves, and it seems that he decides he's going to stick with the Thunderbolts because there's no other team that's bad enough to stick to keep them. The Red Leader kind of goes into a trance and tries to figure out what everybody's going to do, and realizes, well, Mr. Samuel Stearns has to stay. Red Hulk isn't giving him a choice. So whoever the writers did a great job with Deadpool. He goes home, does the Dick Van Dyke trip over the footstool ottoman in the living room. So I guess you have to be pretty old to know that reference, but his wife is there, Death Lady or whatever she is. So it's in continuity with his marriage. And Deadpool decides that he should stay at home and be with the woman he loves, so he quits. And Elektra checks on the Punisher, finds that his place is all shot up, has a fight with Hawkeye, and she comes back after Red Hulk. And at that point, they all kind of get into a little scuffle because they realize that Red Hulk is maybe trying to take out the Punisher, and they find out that Punisher's gun, the one that will turn the Red Hulk back into General Ross and then keep him locked that way, is missing. So they now know it's Punisher versus Red Hulk.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I like it. I mean, it's probably my light book. It's my Superior Foes. It's not overly serious. The artwork, like I said, I really, really liked it. So I was real happy with it, how it went down.
Well, that book isn't getting canceled, is it?
No, not as far as I know, but like as we talked, I never hear and have not seen on anybody else's internet shows that anyone else is reading it. So, but I mean, it's probably just enough people out there. It's still the $2.99 price, another selling point for me.
Sure.
And the people that are writing it now, like I said, did pretty good with each character changing the tone just a little bit for each person.
Cool. I don't know why I just got the impression that after this arc with them fighting with Punisher that it was going to be done, but that may just be something my head made
I
up
heard
too. I don't
that
know.
it was getting canceled.
Okay.
One of my Marvel friends said something about it being canceled, so
Yeah.
I think maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I could see that, and especially like I said with these last couple writers. I mean, I hated how this whole relaunch of Thunderbolt started. I mean, it was ugly artwork and a very shallow story. I thought it got good there for a little bit, and I do like it now.
Well, it definitely has interesting characters in it. It could just be, all kinds of crazy fun, but yeah. Huh. Cool. What else do we want to talk about Marvel? I'm assuming at least some of us read Ms. Marvel. Is that right?
Yes.
So what do we think of Ms. Marvel? Everybody got the same cover, right? Because I hear there's a cover out there with her taking a selfie with Wolverine.
Yeah, I've seen the cover of her and Wolverine, but it's a variant cover.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah. So what do we think? I mean, we kind of talked. Some of us talked about this on Twitter a little while ago, but what do we think of this book?
Yeah, everybody knows I love this book. So, and it had Doggy in it, which was adorable. I love that meme.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed
It's
it.
just a fun book.
Different artist, right? There was
Yeah.
The artist in this book was a different artist.
I did, yes. I didn't like the art as much. I like the other artist better, but it was still good.
The thing I liked about I like both arts. They're both great.
Right.
I do prefer like the look of the other one. I think it looks a little bit like the way it looks is a little better. I liked this one because it was kind of adorable. Certain scenes were really good. I liked it, and yeah, I'm fine with if that other artist is leaving. I'd be fine with this as a replacement. But I love both. They're both great art.
Yeah.
That isn't happening though, is it? Right. The other artist is coming back. Right.
Yeah, I think he is.
Okay.
I'm just saying if
Right. Sure. And I feel the same way. This art didn't take away from the book at all. It was enjoyable, and it's not the same as what was there, but I thought it was fine. Great book.
I didn't hate.
Yeah.
I didn't hate Wolverine. That was the good thing.
Yeah.
The Wolverine part was actually super cute.
It was awesome because she's a total fangirl. They keep bringing that up, the fact that she's just, she's this normal girl who, is part of fan clubs, writes fanfic about all these, superheroes. The whole fanfic thing in here was just absolutely awesome, where she talks about that she had written this thing about, Wolverine and Storm, and that was just awesome. And Wolverine's response to that, kind of blowing her off and then asking what the number one fic was, and of course it's some Cyclops thing, so his day's ruined. The whole thing was just awesome. I mean, they did a great job, and they did a great job of keeping continuity with the fact that he doesn't have his healing power, because if you're keeping up to date on all the Marvel stuff, of course he's lost his healing power, and that's going to be part of the whole Death of Wolverine thing. But to have that in here was kind of cool, that she's getting to play hero to one of the rock stars, really, right? One of the things I really liked about this, I love the fact that she has to go and see what is he? Rabbi's not what he is, because that's
Imam.
Imam, thank you.
Yeah, right.
Goes to see the Imam, and of course you figure you're going to get this stereotypical Imam who's going to be all strict and just be all the stuff she's expecting, that she as a teenager is expecting to get, the don't do this, the scolding, the whole, all of that stuff. And, he ends up being actually pretty cool. I mean, it's like, okay, he's seems to be a pretty smart guy, obviously knows he's not going to completely curb this girl's behavior, but so he's going to do the best he can with what he can. And I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fact that he didn't come across as what or at least what I was expected to be the stereotypical, hard-nosed kind of a, I don't know. I enjoyed that part. That we're not following stereotypes. And Thomas Edison is just great.
Yeah.
This parrot-headed,
Yeah.
Genetically cloned Thomas Edison that got screwed up with somebody's parakeet, so he's got this giant parakeet head and whatnot. Yeah. I'm not a parrot.
That was great. I love everything. I love that she's, kind of a geek girl, and she uses like RPG or gaming, like she's got +10 healing, and
Yeah.
it's
Power
just
up.
a lot of fun.
Well,
And
I'm
I
not
think,
reading
like,
it, but it's something. Sorry, Jen.
Mr. CDC AMP kind of compared it to young Peter Parker. I didn't read it, but maybe so.
Well, yeah, it has the vibe. It has the vibe of Parker when he was younger. I don't know if I say carefree, but just kind of stumbling through life and all of its experiences, and you're kind of seen as a fresh-faced person, kind of a deal. And that's, I think, how Camilla is here. She's just kind of this fresh-faced, young to the world, young to her powers. She's still guessing as to what works how, and all of that. All of that kind of experience, I think, is kind of what. Not to put words in his mouth, but I think that's kind of what he's comparing to. At least that's how I'd compare it if I was comparing it to the young Spider-Man, the early on Spider-Man, just kind of experiencing life.
And I'm not reading it, but from what you're saying, it sounds like I would enjoy it because it's that fan who kind of knows superhero powers and what they can do, but yet still a little bit of that great American hero touch where they're not sure of all their powers.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. She definitely comes across as somebody that would be like us if there were superpowered people in the world, and we're the fan group of super. So we know all their powers. We know how they work and all of that. And then suddenly you get your own powers, and it's like, okay, and it's not simply just a matter of punching something and it falling down. How does that work? And her whole experience of trying to figure that out. I mean, in this issue, she's falling a couple stories into water, and she's trying to figure out, I can't stretch long enough. I can't get big enough to just step down to the water. So while I'm falling, if I get smaller when I hit, is it going to hurt less than if I'm big? And all this stuff she has to try and kind of figure out and whatnot as she's going along, which is pretty cool. And Matt Hammer, who's in the comments, he says that Thunderbolts is ending with issue 32. In the October solicitations, it says it is done with issue 32.
Oh, and I'm on 28. All right, so tears.
Yeah. Maybe they'll give you a cool ending with this whole Punisher war thing. Yeah. So
maybe he'll kill General Ross.
Or get rid of Red Hulk at least.
Yeah.
Depower him permanently. Ross is kind of an arrogant whatever. Yeah.
The only thing about, just to touch back on Thunderbolts, that I don't like is it seems like they don't have any compunction about killing people and bringing them back immediately, because they kill Red Leader and Dr. Faust, who I think are two decent villains that they would use again, and they've killed Stearns, I think, about 4 times in this series. So Red Leader's died 4 times. So
nice. Let's talk another book I know quite a few of us get. Let's talk She-Hulk. She-Hulk issue 6.
cover.
Yes, as they always are.
Yeah.
Love the covers.
The cover
art is so ugly. It's so bad.
I'm like the only person on the planet who seems to not mind it. I like it.
Okay.
And I didn't even care for the coloring or anything. It was just bad.
Look at that double-page spread. That dynamic double-page spread. Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's so inconsistent. She looks different, like every page. Every page, it's like way different.
I like the style of it. I may not be right for this book. I like the style of it. So.
Oh, it's most
Seriously?
certainly.
You like this?
No. You just said the style.
Oh, I love it. Oh no, there's no way. There's no way this style is good for this book. But I don't. I'm like you. I don't hate the art. And I love the camera angles, the poses, and the craziness of it. It just for this book, to me, it just doesn't match up with what. Well, it doesn't match up with the other art that we've had in the book, and of course, we're kind of not all sold on that being necessarily the art we love either. But it's so radically different. It's it's the difference between having I don't know I don't even know how to compare it, but it's so out there. Like I said, I like the art, but it doesn't work for the book. It's very, very distracting for the book in most cases. I really liked the pages with the secretary where she's out in the snow. I thought those pages and the art worked really well there because it gave this kind of really kind of eerie, her left out in the snow, having been shot in the head or whatever kind
I'll
of a
give
thing.
you that. I'll give you that because
But
there were moments, but
yeah, but you are right.
overall, it didn't work.
You are right. She-Hulk, Jen, she looks different in every single panel she's in. The coloring is strange because when she goes She-Hulk, she doesn't stay green. She turns this kind of seafoam blue color that's just
Yes.
it's really weird too. So, to the story of it, so does it feel like they just kind of shut this story down, or are we going to see more of it? Because at the end of it, it's like, oh, forget it, we're not doing this, and we're going to go do something else instead.
Yeah,
I don't
when I
know.
read
That was weird.
yeah. When I read it, I was like, okay, is it? That was what. It was kind of a mediocre ending to the story.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to come back. I think it's one of those things that's going to kind of haunt them.
I think so too.
Because obviously the way she treated, I'm drawing a blank on her name, the secretary, the receptionist, the way she treated her at the end of the book, and it seemed like she didn't even remember treating her that way. So obviously she's got some sort of magical block that's making her act weird every time the case comes up too.
Right, like certain things happen, and she just wants to avoid it again. So I'm pretty sure, but it was kind of weird.
Yeah. And I don't know who this
way of ending it.
Do you guys know who this person is? The what the heck's his name?
Nightwatch.
Nightwatch? I'm not familiar with that
I have
character.
no clue who that was. I was just like, okay.
No idea.
So, any Marvel people out there who know Nightwatch is, maybe you can fill us in on that. I mean, I thought I knew Marvel, but obviously I don't know the whole thing. So, yeah, I don't know. I still like the book. I'll be happy next issue we get our other artists back.
Yeah, I think Holiday is back next issue. So I never thought I would be so happy to have him back on the book. But
give me back the guy who draws her eyes way too far apart, because that's so less disturbing than what this was. and it was. I mean, like I said, I liked the art, but to me it was distracting. I mean, it actually made it harder for me to read the book because the art was just so distracting for me to read the words. It was like, wow. But
yeah, I agree with you there. When I was going to read it, I was like, I read it last. That's and I like the art. It's all right, but
I'm still enjoying the story. So I mean, I'm definitely not going to drop it. It's just that some people have dropped it over the art, and you can't blame them.
Yeah.
I don't think. I don't get it.
But I know that I knew that art was temporary. If they had told me this person's now the permanent, it's going to be on for a year or whatever, I would really struggle to keep reading the book. I would really struggle to keep reading the book. But I like the three kind of main characters. I love Jen. I love Jennifer. She's a great character. Souls write her really well. The receptionist too. I'm saying she's a great character, but I can't remember her darn. Yeah.
Angie.
She's a great, interesting character. I mean, she's really intriguing. She's obviously got a lot going on that we don't know about her and her monkey. Chi-Chi is that. And I even like Hellcat. Isn't that Hellcat? Patsy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I even like her. I mean, she's an interesting cog in this little group they have and whatnot, and I'm curious to know about them and what they're going to do and stuff. So so I'm on board, like I said. But I would really struggle if like this. They told me this artist was going to be on for next year. I'd be hard pressed to keep getting it. But yeah. Anything else you want to say about She-Hulk? Okay. Any other Marvel books did we pick up? I picked up one other more. Oh, Electra? I've been missing that. I got like the first 3 or 4 issues of it, and I haven't actually been to a store to get on my pull. How's it reading?
I enjoy it. I like the she fights Bloody Lips, the other assassin who can eat people and capture a little bit of their memories.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, basically it was a little bit of that, a little bit of run and go with them, and as you know, the story is still the same on trying to find Kate Crow, and they're dragging the sun along. So the story is still, along that line. I think it's just a short run, isn't it? It's not ongoing, is it?
I thought it was ongoing. I didn't realize it was.
Oh no, and maybe it is. If this is just the beginning of it, it's wonderful, and I'm going to hate when Del Mundo, the artist, leaves.
Oh yeah, because the art is just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, the watercolor feel to it, and
Yeah.
Black has been doing a great job writing, so there are definitely no complaints. It's on my poll for that reason.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. The selling point of that book is if you don't like the writing, the art is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's like I said, those first couple issues, the first 2 or 3 issues I picked up were the art within it was amazing, and the story is a decent story. I mean, it's not like I don't know that it's like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing I've ever read, but decent. I mean, it's certainly better than other stuff I'm collecting, quite frankly. So yeah, and that's a $2.99 book, isn't it?
Correct, I believe so. It's no, it's a $3.99.
It's $1.39. Not that matters. Whatever.
Right. Me, I'm a.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
That's my last one. So.
Yeah. Magneto. I picked up Magneto. I don't know if anybody else is reading that.
I was gonna jump on it, but they actually ended up selling out of some of the issues at my store. They had 1 through 6, and I was gonna grab them today, and I was like, I'm getting it, and some of them were sold out. So I was just like, well, no, I'll get the trade.
Bummer, yeah, because this is issue 7. I'm still really enjoying this. It's really, it's just interesting. This kind of street level, more of a street level Magneto. Trying to do his best, doing the old thing that Magneto used to do. Basically whacking people who are whacking mutants. That's what he's out doing in the simplest of terms. But of course, he's not this big, powerful person that he used to be to just kind of fly in and crush everything. He's got to be a little more thoughtful about how he's doing it. And there's this kind of underlying current of all this kind of Sentinel technology that has been that's being permeated a lot of places, and he's trying to figure out where all this stuff is coming from, because obviously the Sentinel stuff is the biggest threats to mutant kind, and he's trying to figure out where is all that coming from, and he has this partner who has lots of information on S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff like that is feeding him stuff, and I'm not sure exactly how she's going to fit into the thing. We've been shown in prior issues that she has a past that looks like it may have at one point came into conflict with Magneto without him knowing about it, and so ultimately how she plays out in the book could be really interesting. But it's it's a pretty like I said, kind of a street level Magneto book to some degree, which makes it kind of an interesting take on the character. And I like it. If you got a problem with people getting killed and stuff, though, don't read this book, because he whacks somebody in like every issue. Somebody goes down in it. So, but it's been cool. I've really enjoyed it. Been good. Any other Marvel books? I read more Marvel books than anybody else did. Holy cows! Going to the dark side. So,
Mr. Marvel.
Yes, let's talk other Marvel news, because of course in the last week Marvel has released all kinds of crazy news that has just torn the internet apart in all kinds of fun stuff. So first off, we've got the news that Thor will soon be a woman. What do we think?
I'm fine with it.
Good, bad, who cares? I don't.
Done before. That's kind of like the only problem that I have with these changes, is most of these things have already happened. So I don't really understand the big problem.
Right. There have been what if stories like April as Thor, right? Yeah.
Well, Thor was turned into a frog. Other people have picked up. Even there was Thor Girl for a while. So there's woman Thor before. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it could be. I'm actually going to get up and try the workbook. The only thing that's a little bit confusing to me is why she's still called Thor.
And what is the other one? I mean, is he going to revert back to Blake, whatever?
I don't think he's ever been Blake, whatever, in this carnation. I mean, this current whatever. I don't know that he's ever been that. I mean,
Yeah,
I actually collect quite a bit, and at the beginning, right as he's getting ready to raise Asgard, they're, the big Thor is there, but they also still have the Doctor, Dr. Blake.
uh-huh.
And the name's
So
slipping me.
in
Hmm.
the current storyline, Thor, God
Yeah.
of Thunder.
Oh, I'm sorry,
I
no, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And not Thor God of Thunder, the Thor raise Asgard all the way to Siege.
Sure.
So
And
I'm sorry, yeah.
Right, I
I'm a
completely
little off
agree with
because
you.
of-
I completely agree with you. At one point, he did have basically the equivalent of a secret identity, right? He had this other
Yeah.
person. I
Yeah.
haven't seen that. I mean, I collected the first arc of the Thor: God of Thunder. Really enjoyed it. Great art, and I just planned on picking the rest up in trades.
Yeah.
But I hadn't seen that, so I don't know. I don't know. I mean, because best of my knowledge from this Thor: God of Thunder, he's always been Thor. I mean, even when he was a young lad, he was Thor. He is the son of Odin. Even before he had the hammer, he becomes the God of Thunder once he's swinging the hammer. The hammers were the extra godly powers, but he is an Asgardian. He. So
You're correct.
yeah,
I
that was
also grab
my
it-
understanding.
Yeah, and I grab it in trade too, and that's where I slipped. Is I got the first bit of the Butcher, so
Right.
I think they're treating Thor as more of an idea and not as a person when they're saying, "Oh, there's gonna be a female Thor." I think they're just because, like, in the movies, I don't know if they're going off of that kind of continuity. Odin, when he banishes Thor, he's like, "Whoever holds this hammer and is worthy of it will have the power of Thor." I think they're treating him as an idea.
It actually says that on the hammer, doesn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel it's more of an idea and not a person.
They've said straight up the book is going to be called Thor, and she is Thor. They've said straight up that that's what it's going to be. It's like she's going to have another name. She's not going to be She Thor. She's not going to be Thorina. She is Thor,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
I want a Marvel Now Frog Thor book. I'd pick that up for a while.
Yeah, there you go. Which I mean, I'm perfectly fine with a lady being Thor. I mean, I think that'll be fun. I mean, it'll be fun to have a lady beating the hell out of stuff with a hammer and swigging back booze and manizing, because you can't womanize, I guess, or I guess you could womanize. I don't know. Whatever. I mean, it sounds more like a Rat Queen's book, but
I think the problem
So,
is we don't
Go
know
ahead.
what's happening to the guy Thor, Odin's son. You know, because in the current comic book, it's not like he isn't dead and he isn't lost yet. So what happens to him?
right.
Well, so
he
I'm
obviously
interested to see.
he obviously goes back to being Thor at some point, because we've seen three Thors, right? Young Thor, a current Thor, and we've seen old man Thor, who ends up being Odin himself at some point. Basically takes that on.
Yeah.
So within that plot line, at some point he's going back. We all know. I mean, come on. Okay, first and foremost, people, it's
Right.
comic books. The original character is never going to go away forever. Okay, let's get that out there now. If you're new to comics, you're new to comics, don't panic. If you think it might be interesting, read it and enjoy it. If you just, like, for whatever reason you're so against a lady wielding the hammer, forget about Thor for a year or two. Come back and Thor will be back. I mean, that's as simple as that. We know that's going to happen at some point. At some
kind of like
point,
Superior Spider-Man.
right. We're going to get it back. Thor will come back at some point in some fashion there. For me, I'm happy about it. As long as it makes sense. If somebody's going to write a good story around it and it makes sense for him to not have the hammer and somebody else to have the hammer, rock on. It's an interesting story. You got to change stuff up at some point. And I'm somebody who, I go back and forth on whether what changes or not. It might be a good thing for a while. So, why not?
I would say is the bigger question, the week before San Diego Comic-Con, the news is broke on The View.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I mean,
that
I
didn't
think
bother
that
me.
was
Well-
what's...
You don't agree with that?
No, I think that's what's interesting, is that they said,
Well,
forget Comic-Con, and we're going and The View of all shows. So
Well,
I
we
don't know
can-
if they're hoping to
Sure.
grasp that woman vote, or
Of
I mean,
course.
buy.
Of course. Of course. It's Marvel
Yeah.
saying, hey, it's Marvel saying to a female audience, granted, I think it's, okay, maybe I shouldn't make that assumption. My assumption is The View is watched by an age bracket that is older
Yeah,
than
I don't know.
an age bracket that's my age, which is not the age you probably are trying to sell comics to, but I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know. But just putting it out there on the View, the View is, I'm assuming, is seen as being pro ladies. It's, you know, because it's all ladies in the host. They talk about that sort of stuff and whatnot. It's Marvel saying, hey, look, we make books for girls. That's what they're doing. They're flat out saying, we're making books. Look, we're changing badass character. We're making it into a lady because we make books for ladies. That's what that's all about. That's how I see it. I mean, that's just them marketing, saying, look, we're.
Which surprises me they didn't do this then with Miss Marvel. It seems like it would have made a little more sense. I know Thor's a bigger deal. It's the big three.
Thor's a bigger deal, and Miss Marvel's a little more polarizing than I think.
Yeah, it's a
Miss Marvel,
little bit controversial.
You're dealing with Muslim. You're dealing with, you know. So I think everyone's a little more afraid of that. To their mistake. Because it's one of Marvel's best books to be put out. It's one of the best books being out. Not just Marvel. It's one of the best books being put out, quite honestly. You know, they're addressing all that really well. But so I don't know. You know, I mean, there's some speculation as to who the female Thor is going to be because they haven't told us. I mean, I've heard Angela because Angela has been kind of. We now know that she's like his sister. So I mean, there's a bloodline thing that could be there, and that's just kind of weird. No?
I just think they're going to use her for something else because they put Angela in like promos as Angela or whatever. So I don't see her becoming Thor. Maybe Sylph becomes Thor. That'd be cool.
But then her hair has to become blonde because we've seen the photo. So that's the only thing I think that's interesting is they've showed the artwork already, and you know,
she really does look like a gender swapped Thor.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder: is it going to be somebody with a personality, a human who becomes this, so then they can have a secret identity?
Valkyrie takes over.
Yeah.
Interesting. So also in the same week, we also find out that the Falcon is going to take over being Captain America. So, oh my gosh, our minds are blown again. A black Captain America. What's the world coming to?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see the problem other than what Ed Brubaker just did this a few years ago, right? See, that's the only problem I have. I don't know. I feel like everything's being happening fast. Being rushed to be exciting again.
When you say Ed Brubaker did this a while ago, Ed Brubaker had a black Captain America, or we just had somebody else being Captain America?
No, but you know, Cap lost his super serum.
Well, he was gone.
Whatever, and
he was
somebody
dead,
else took over for him.
Yeah.
And Bucky took over or whatever.
Right.
Well,
I don't know. I don't see the problem with it as far as him being black.
I mean, right. So I don't have an issue with that either. I mean, I question what would inspire the Falcon to give up his identity to take on Captain America. So I'm curious about that. Part of me wants to read that story. I'm actually collecting Captain America. Captain America's not a character I'm normally interested in. I started collecting this series because of the kind of sci-fi bent that was on it, and then I just kind of rode along with it, thinking that we'd get back to because I like Jet and some of that stuff. Haven't really been enjoying the story arc up until now. Now that Steve Rogers has lost his powers and he's this old 90-year-old man, basically. I mean, he's aged up to age appropriate. How old he'd be if he would have been fighting in World War II. I want to hear that story. I want to hear the story about Steve Rogers. How does he deal with the fact that he's no longer this thing? And
they say they're still going to use him. He's going to be the support system for Sam.
Yeah, they're going to use him, but I don't think we're going to get the story that I want to read. So I am dropping the book. Now, I'm not dropping the book because the Falcon is becoming Captain America or it's black or whatever. I don't care about that. But I'm really not. I'm less interested in the Captain America aspect of the comic than I am Steve Rogers, the person. What I liked most about him when this run first started is his personal struggle with dealing with the fact he was tossed in this third dimension. He's got this virus in him. He's trying to raise this kid. That was the stuff that interested me, his personal struggle. And they've kind of moved away from his personal struggle and got into the typical, what in my brain I view as the typical Captain America fights. And I'm just not interested in that. So I'll be pitching off of the book.
And I'm not upset at.
See, go ahead. I'm just thinking that sort of how Bucky became Winter Soldier and all that kind of stuff, maybe they think they can launch Falcon by making him Cap for a while. You know, get people to read and know that character better, and then maybe Falcon gets his own book later. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or it could feed into the movies so that if they want to go Winter Soldier or
Right.
the Falcon can pick up after Chris decides he doesn't want to be Captain America anymore.
Yeah. We'll talk the movie stuff here in a second because I'm
all right,
really
all right.
something about that I'm really curious about.
Then as it comes to the Black Captain America, I think it's great. I do think that that's the next good step, and I do think that they should hand the shield down. I think this is a smart move that not make it Steve Rogers anymore. I know, of course, it will return, but why not Patriot? You know, even because Patriot's grandfather was Captain America after Steve Rogers died, you know, or before actually, you know,
Right.
the serum. So before 40.
But where is Patriot?
41. Exactly, yeah. And this would have been the perfect opportunity for him to step up and take the shield. I didn't like in all the, you know, there was a couple people that said it was, you know, his partner Sam and this kind of stuff, but too often I heard his sidekick, and I don't think the Falcon is his sidekick anymore.
They're
Yeah,
partners.
I don't-
They're
I
partners.
Yeah, partners. I
And
did like.
it strikes me as he does his own thing too. It's not like he's
Yeah. I did like that it was announced on Steve Colbert, on the Colbert Show.
Sure. Which is another smart place to announce it, you know, with him being the
Mhm.
Patriot. He's got the shield up on
Yeah.
his background and whatnot. Yeah, so I didn't actually watch it, but it made sense. Yeah. So and then the other third announcement, of course, is Iron Man is changing. Iron Man is moving to San Francisco, getting a new costume and whatnot. Is it Tony Stark? I never did find out whether or not
Yeah.
we know. It is
Yes,
Tony Stark.
the superior
It's
Iron Man will be Tony Stark, but it's the mad scientist Tony Stark.
We're not going to get gay Tony Stark?
No, what you're getting is what they did to Bruce Banner. It's the I'm too crazy for my powers mad scientist.
See, I think they should have him come out of the closet because I think that would just be awesome. I just think that would just be that would be the thing that would be mind blowing if he comes out of the closet and goes, well, no, I've just been faking I'm a straight guy all this time. I think it's curious that they've now got 3 superheroes in San Francisco. Why has Marvel suddenly decided to plant a bunch of people in San Francisco? Because you've got
I was
She-Hulk,
wondering,
you've got
who's the
Daredevil,
other
and now
one?
you're going to have
oh yeah.
She-Hulk, Daredevil, and now you're going to have Iron Man. I just think that's curious that now suddenly you got everybody used to be on the East Coast. Nobody was ever on the West Coast, and now
But
suddenly
She-Hulk
they get
just
kicked
went to San Francisco.
she is went to San Francisco. She is
I thought
actually
she's
in San Francisco.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
okay.
went there to see Daredevil, but then she came back. She's in New York, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. Jersey or something like that. Okay.
You
So I'm
can
wrong on that.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
You can only destroy New York so many times
But-
before they kick you out and you have to go to Los Angeles.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
That's what it is. Yeah. That's what Stan Lee told me.
Okay. So my other question is of course you got these radical changes on these big franchise characters, right? All of these characters have their own movies, plus they're all in the Avengers. And we're always claiming, or we like to spend a lot of time kind of implying that the movies are jacking up our comic books and they just keep playing the comic books closer and closer to the movies, right? Well, I guarantee you the next Thor movie that comes out is not going to have a girl as Thor. It's not going to happen. There's just no way.
Wait till sales. Wait till we see sales first.
No, I don't even care if they sell 1 million copies. There is no way. I just
Right.
can't imagine it. Just like I can't imagine.
But are these
Go ahead, Jen.
are they changed back before the movies come out? That's what I want to see.
Sure.
That's what I'm going to be watching for. I think it is. It's just before the movie time comes. Does oops, no more Lady Thor,
Yeah.
They did the same thing with Spider-Man. He was Spider-Rock for a while, and then, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is coming out. Peter's back, so
Right.
just convenient timing.
So that could be. I mean, that
Well,
could be.
the other thing I wondered is, did they sit around and decide we're close to a relaunch, do you just continue the storylines, change some stuff, or do you try and relaunch like the New 52? And I
Well,
really hope that they decided this is, continue it on, try some new stuff. Don't just relaunch and keep telling the same stories.
Well, I think there's a combination there. They had something new to change. They had something new to say. Some of those titles have run long enough now that it's time to give another new number one because the new number one sells. So that's become the new, the new way of selling stuff. So yeah. I mean, I think it's a combination of the two things. They had something. Somebody came up with something new, some sort of a new kind of a story to tell. So let's launch a new whatever. They retitled it, they renumber one at number one, and go on with something new for a while, and it lasts however many issues it lasts, and they retitle it and do something else with it. I'm not upset with any of these. I mean, I'm collecting Captain America. I've been kind of on the fence as to whether I was going to keep collecting or drop it anyway. For me, this just seems to be a logical point for me to stop collecting it because I haven't been enjoying it that much. So for me, I'm getting off of it. Not that I'm upset, but just because it's a logical place to get off of it. Those other books I'm not collecting, so it doesn't really affect me a whole lot. Sleepy Reader is in the comments, and he says Thor is one of their best books too, and the movie franchise star, which is the key to being on a national show. That's why he thinks they did that announcement on national shows, because of course it is a big movie thing and whatnot. But I'm not upset. I mean, I know there are some people who are upset with the fact they're messing with Thor. It's been a good thing. Why are you going to change it? But if it's written and done by the same people, and it's been good all along, as long as it makes sense as to why they're changing it, I wouldn't see why it would be a big deal that it's being changed. But,
yeah, Iron Man was the only one we did not hear about in the big TV, so I guess
that's because his change wasn't that radical. It's a new book. Yeah. It's a new book. His costume will probably be a little bit different. His Iron Man thing will be a little different, and he's living someplace else. It's not a radical change. I think that's why we didn't get the full fanfare of it being some. I didn't even pay attention because, quite honestly, I am not an Iron Man fan. So that character has never interested me, so I don't pay much attention to it.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to bother with that book, even though I like the author.
Yeah.
Who's writing Iron Man?
Tom Taylor.
All right.
Tom Taylor.
Yeah, he has been writing Earth 2, really good on Earth 2. He's been writing the whole Injustice thing for those people who collect that and have really liked that. I hear good things about it, so he's going to be abandoning us on Earth 2 and going to go write a Marvel book. Damn it. But any other Marvel news we want to talk about? But yeah, I just think with the movies, I think that's really interesting. They changed that stuff as much as they did. That's fascinating. So let's talk some DC books. What do people read as far as DC? I have 3 books, and they're all Bat Family related. Because I'm boring.
I have 5.
0.
Yep.
I have 2. I got Supergirl.
Yeah? How's that? Is this the last of the Red Lantern stuff?
Yes.
So they kick her out of the Red Lanterns?
They kicked her out of the Red Lanterns last issue.
Did they take her ring when they kicked her out?
No, the whole point of it was that someone who takes off the ring dies. So they were like, don't take it off.
Yeah.
So basically, Guy Gardner was just like, you're too nice.
Yeah.
Go away. But no, it wasn't her. He said it wasn't her fight. That she doesn't deserve anything bad that happens to them. That she should go. And so, and she basically, she makes a comment in issue 32 saying, I basically thanked him for it. But yeah, she was out of it then. And last issue, she was attacked by a world killer who claims to be Kryptonian. He's like a suit of armor, and he wants to bond to her because he said will be the most powerful thing. And because of whatever's happening in Superman. I have no clue what's happening in Superman. I don't really care.
The Doom stuff, yeah.
Yeah, they poisoned Earth's air supply with kryptonite or whatever. And so, as they're fighting, she's fallen to Earth, and she's like, oh, well, that's kryptonite, and he's weakening her. And then, you know, that's where the last issue ends off. Like, you're like, oh, peril. But this issue, as she's getting weaker, she's getting angrier. So, the Ring, you know, she fights back, and I can't remember what the name was. I'm just going to call him the Armor, whatever. He's just like, he's saying we don't have to fight, and he's all doing all this, and she ends up, like, they're still in the atmosphere, she's getting weaker, and he starts attacking civilians. So she's like, you know, like the Armor binds to this one dude, and he just, like, ages very rapidly and just turns to dust, basically, and it's ridiculous. And he goes to attack someone else. She says, let him go, you can have me, or whatever. And so he does. They start to bond, and she flies to the sun, and with the intent of melting it, burning it up in the sun. It doesn't work immediately, and so she goes to take the ring off, and she takes it off and throws it into the sun because that's what the Armor wanted. It's just like, oh, I want that, and the fact you're Kryptonian, it's super powerful.
Sure.
She throws him in the sun, it shatters, she dies. And he goes to do whatever. I don't remember exactly what he was going to do. But then, basically, while being in the sun, it healed her of her kryptonite poisoning.
Right.
And brings her back. Like, she was supposed to die, like, and during that, like, Guy Gardner he feels something wrong, and he goes to contact her, and it says, it can't make contact or whatever, and he immediately thinks, oh god, she's dead. And, like, just a look of, like, pain on his face. I was like, oh, dude. And, yeah, she, you know, is back. She's normal Supergirl, and she's, like, insanely powerful because Sun is right next to her. And so she just grabs this dude and just throws him into the sun, and he melts away. It was pretty awesome, I gotta admit.
Cool.
But, yeah, there's I don't know what the next story arc is going to be, and 34 is a Superman Doomed tie-in, so that'll be fun, because I don't give a shit about that at all.
Was the Armor maybe Rom, the Space Knight?
There you go.
And one more thing, it had these characters on the cover. It had a Fairchild, Freefall, Grunge, Rainmaker, and Burnout. I have no idea who those characters were.
Gen 13. Those are Gen 13 characters.
Okay. And they were in there for like 2 pages. It was actually after Supergirl ended. It was just like a 2-page preview of something.
Right.
So I was just like, well, those had no consequence. But
yeah, I'm not sure what they're doing there. They're kind of flirting with those characters, the Gen 13, some of the Gen 13 characters, bringing them back. I think that has to do with the fact is I think both companies, both Marvel and DC, are discovering that these younger, fresh-faced characters, there might actually be a market for them, and so they should start getting some of them out there for people to read. So.
Cool. I do like how DC's decided not to do that little news thing at the end, the fake news.
Oh, yeah.
They're doing a little bit more informational inserts, so...
Yeah, I never read any of those channel things ever. Anyway,
no,
so.
I haven't ever. I think I tried once, and I was like, okay.
And I love Ambush Bug, but yeah, no.
When did you end up dropping Supergirl, Travis? I swore you got it for a while.
Yeah, I did. I got it for a long time. I think I got I dropped at the issue where she's looking like she's about ready to throw down on the Silver Banshee after she's the Red Lantern. She's crashed onto Earth.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
She's still kind of losing her shit, and she that's where I decided that. Looking at the solicitations, I couldn't see it going any place I was actually really that excited for, and I just getting really tired of the character always being dumbly walking into the same scenario over and over again. Oh, look, we can give you Krypton back. Oh, really? Okay, let's go along and do it. And then find out the bad guy, 3 pages later, some new bad guy shows up and goes, we can give you, You know, Krypton Max, really? Okay. And I can't do it anymore.
That's my main problem with it.
I do like Tony Bedard. I like him as a writer. I think he writes kind of space, kind of adventuring kind of books well. So I was kind of looking forward to that, but I just, like I said, looking at the solicitations, I just went, damn, this is going to keep doing the same thing. And so it became a victim of, I thought I was going to be short on finances, so that's one of the books that I dropped. But,
yeah, well, I'm still on it. I liked it enough. I'm not reading the next issue though.
Yeah. Well, right. Well, the next issue is a Doom one, right? And then the one after that is going to be
Oh yeah, does it come out in September?
The futures end tie-in, whatever. And so if you're not interested in that
too,
if you're not getting that, then you got a couple of months. You got until October for the new book. Anyway, Futures End. You guys read Futures End? I don't. So.
Nope.
Yeah, I do.
Have you read that one for this week yet?
Yeah, I read through it pretty quickly. It was. I'm still enjoying it. This issue was kind of mostly setup stuff. Not a lot happened, so it wasn't the best issue ever. But there's interesting stuff going on. It's just not so much in this book, Frankenstein and Amethyst and Hawkman are together going on this mission.
Cool. That's an awesome group of people.
There's stuff going on. Yeah, they're kind of fun. There's some funny stuff between Amethyst and Hawkman going on. And Mr. Terrific and Batman Beyond in this issue. That's kind of, Batman Beyond's trying to stop the evil Brother Eye thing from happening.
Right.
I still want to know what's up with Superman. Like, he's got this full body suit with a mask on and everything. And it's like...
I remember you talking about that, yeah.
It's really weird. I don't know what's up with that. There's a character in here that seems to be new. I don't really remember his name. But this African American guy. I want to know more about him and what's going on. I don't remember his name now. But yeah, I don't know. And there's stuff going on with Firestorm. Firestorm won't get back together, and at first I really liked it, but now I'm really hating it, and I'm wishing they just would leave Firestorm alone. Because they had a fight, the two personalities, and one of them held the other one prisoner, basically wouldn't let him go for days after Green Arrow was killed. So it's like, I don't know, it was interesting, but now it's just getting repetitive there.
Yeah. That book does interest me just because that book does interest me just because of all the kind of like second tier, the B and C, heroes that are kind of that they're using a whole bunch, and it just kind of is interesting. It's always interesting to see how they use that stuff. So.
Yeah, and no grifter in this book, so that's always good. No.
Yeah. So the other weekly book, Batman Eternal.
Yeah.
What do we think of Batman Eternal?
I liked it. I really like this issue actually. I like the mystic characters for DC.
Right.
Regardless of who's writing them. But I enjoy them a lot, and I like that the Spectre was in this one, and that he couldn't just, I'm omnipotent, I can be everything. He was just like, I can't do it. Seeing like all that crazy stuff like of Scarecrow like bleeding up, it was weird. I thought it was cool because I'm a big fan of weird stuff, and I really liked that Spectre Batwing combo. And I also like that Batwoman is in it. I've never read any Batwoman, so I was just like, okay, that's cool. And who was the other one? Oh, Harper, her mask.
Yeah.
Or her mask. I thought it was awesome.
Right. for kind of grifter-esque kind of a look.
Yeah.
My first and foremost, the thing I liked most about this was it's got Dustin Nguyen on art. It's been so long since we've seen Dustin Nguyen do any Batman besides Little Gotham, and I love his work on Batman. He's got an ambiance that he gives Batman and the Gotham and the whole Bat family. It just, maybe his face. I know some people don't like the way his face is look and whatnot, but I love the feel that his art brings. I mean, his version of the Joker's daughter, for instance, is really quite frightening. I think is really eerie. I do think it's funny in here. He draws some Batgirl because Batgirl's briefly in it, and that is such a Stephanie Brown face because he did the artwork for about 10 issues on the last run of Batgirl. So other than her having red hair, I'm just like, oh my god, that's Stephanie Brown. But anyway, not to confuse the actual Stephanie Brown that's in it, but that just, to me, that amused me. But yeah, he does this eerie thing really well. I enjoyed this issue. It's really getting things going. We get a lot more of the whole. Been waiting for this storyline to be picked back up. The whole Batwing and Jim Corrigan, them going into Arkham and what was that going to be like and whatnot. And so, excited for that part. I was surprised to see Batwoman in it because I didn't think we were going to see a bunch of Batwoman, but maybe they're going to work her into it, which would be smart for them to do. But yeah, enjoyable. I'm looking forward to more issues with Dustin Nguyen doing the artwork on it, though. That's a big thing for me.
Yeah. And Red Robin was in it. You didn't want to punch him in the face.
You're right, I didn't. Because I was hoping the Harper was going to do it for me.
I found him tolerable in this. I was like, okay, he's not being an asshole.
Right. Yeah,
So
he wasn't in it long enough, and the script was by Ray Fawkes this time, and so he's a little less obnoxious because I don't think he has the same love affair with the guy that Tinian does. So there you go. On to other Batman books. Batman Rises, right? Or not Batman, but I mean Robin.
Oh, Robin Rises Omega.
I didn't get it.
What do
You were smart.
Yeah, you know what? There really was no. I mean, if you want to have all the stuff that's attached to this, this is a great book. It does have some stuff in it that doesn't happen someplace else. Wonderful. If you're thinking, wow, I want to get into the whole resurrection of Damian, and you haven't been reading Batman and Robin, this will be a good book to pick up then if you really are interested in it because it recaps. It goes back and recaps the beginning of Damian's existence. It recaps stories that they told in the Batman and Robin from Grant Morrison's run pre-52. It touches on a lot of stuff. So it was good for that. It kind of gives you this whole kind of background build up. Gets us to this point where we meet this Godfrey person from Apocalypse, and they have a big old fight. He teams up with Ra's al Ghul briefly. They have a big brawl. They pretty much lose, and they lose Damian's sarcophagus to Apocalypse. It gets sucked back in through one of the boom tubes, Apocalypse, and now Batman's going to go. But if you've been reading this kind of stuff all along, or you're up on the story, yeah, this was not needed.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit, I think was a Batman Superman storyline, and then the new Justice League people. It seems to be,
Yeah.
trying to promote them a little bit, I think. But yeah, I don't know. It wasn't bad. I mean, the art look was decent. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't. It wasn't. To me, it didn't feel up to the normal standard of the storytelling.
Right.
It was more actiony.
Yeah. Yeah, from Tomasi, and normally Tomasi writes a good story. This one, like I said, it wasn't bad, but it really felt like a good chunk of it was recap, and then the little part that wasn't recap, there wasn't much to it, quite honestly. So.
Shazam.
It's a great shot of Batman punching him in the face, which is great. They're making him out to be so obnoxious. I mean, I know he's a
I
young kid.
know.
I know he's a young kid in this body. I get that. But it used to be kind of a cute or a fun thing that he was this young kid. Now he's just kind of I don't know what I want to call him. I don't know what kind of name I want to call him, but he's annoying, that's for sure.
Well, and he's still supposed to have the wisdom of Solomon.
He doesn't.
Dude,
Not at
not
all.
even close. Not even close. And
And it's
and questionably, he doesn't even have a really great moral compass because he's this teenager, and he's not this wholesome teenager. He's this teenager that's lived a pretty tough life. You know, he's been an orphan, and so, you know, in the past, he's had no problems, you know, flexing his muscles to get some money or whatever he needs to do, as Shazam. So, yeah, they've changed the character.
he seems really naive, you know, and it's so weird coming out of such an adult body. I don't know. It's just they're making me really not like Shazam. Maybe that's what they're trying to do. I don't know.
Well, after the whole Magic ping pong table, I'm just having a hard time with him in general.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in that last week in that Justice League comic book, or however many weeks ago it was, that just
So awful.
yeah. The only other book, a DC book I got was Batwoman. It's okay. It's a great cover. Deals with some more custody battle issues. Nocturna's back. Character hasn't been used for a very long time. Somewhat interesting, but wasn't anything special. I feel like the writer kind of has a voice, kind of knows what kind of story he wants to tell. It just hasn't been really riveting right yet. I'm sticking with the book because there's stuff coming up in solicitations that excite me about the book, so I'm looking forward to that. But more than I am about what I'm actually reading right now.
I did flip through it in the shop, and I mean, because I saw that cover, I thought it was going to be great. I flipped through it, and then I saw there was almost nothing action-wise till the end, so I actually put it back. I was just like, you almost had me.
Well, the Raphael Albuquerque cover, of course,
Yeah.
his stuff's just awesome looking. It's definitely eye-catching. The Jeremy Hahn stuff inside is pedestrian.
Yeah.
You know, it's not bad, but it's not exciting either. He's going to be off the book soon. I think in October. I think he's off the book. And I can't remember who the artist that comes on the book, but Batwoman's going to be on a team. She's going to be teaming up with the Unknowns, is what they're being called. And the Unknowns are Ragman, Clayface, Red Alice, which I'm assuming is a remake of Black Alice, a re-envisioning of Black Alice. And I'm thinking there's somebody else, but I can't remember who the other person is. So I'm really curious about that, because to me that's a fascinating group of people. Clayface, Clayface, Ragman, and
Sounds like the Suicide Squad that should be.
yeah, it could be.
Oh.
Well, we don't even talk about the new Suicide Squad. Yeah.
Yeah, the new Suicide Squad.
Wow.
But it sounds like that's what we wanted out of that one. So.
Yeah. Well, I have no idea how that storyline's going to come about, but I'm curious. So that'll be interesting. So I'll be hanging on the book at least through that. But I don't know. I'm struggling with the book. It's not capturing my attention like I wanted to.
They should put Crazy Quilt on that team.
Yes.
I want
Should.
a New 52 Crazy Quilt book.
I'm all over it. Written by Grant Morrison. Let's make it really strange. So what are DC books we got? Anybody else pick up any other DC books? Jen, you didn't have any other DC books? Wow.
I got Harley Quinn, and I picked up the new Teen Titan #1, but I'm probably going to drop Teen Titans. It just didn't, I mean, the art wasn't bad, but it was just, I don't know, it didn't really capture me. So Harley Quinn, I don't even want to talk about it.
Okay, we won't talk about it. If you want to know opinions on Harley Quinn, go find it on Twitter. It's been talked about plenty, like people's opinions on that whole thing, I think. So, yeah. So, DC news? Anything we dying we gotta talk about DC-wise? I can't think of anything. I don't remember anything coming out that's just like.
The Flash is just casted Captain Cold.
That's right. That's right.
It was the younger guy from Prison Break. Got to look to even see Wendleton, or was it Wentworth Miller, as Leonard Snark, aka Captain Cold.
Cool.
So I never really watched Prison Break, so I don't know much on him. So
me either, but that's an excellent character to quickly introduce into the mythos.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really looking forward to The Flash.
And they did talk about doing, of course, a couple crossovers with Arrow. So it's going to be real interesting to see how they keep tying these two together. And yeah, I mean, this is just one more bullet in the Shield, because I mean that thing is almost dead since they're going head to head.
Well, and I think there's going to be a lot of appeal to like the Flash, because it sounds like the Flash is going to go 4-color superhero. They're gonna pull out all the stops. They're gonna have superheroes and supervillains duking it out. It won't be kind of a spy thing that flirts with the universe that has superheroes in it. It's gonna be superheroes, and I think that's gonna be. I think that's more appealing to me anyway, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything else along the lines of news from DC? I can't think of
Because
anything.
we mentioned that they had Robbie Amell, who's going to be Firestorm, right? I think we talked about that last week. And then the Atom. So.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, that's gonna be something else. They're putting a lot of interesting stuff in that show. I hope it all holds up. It's part of me wonders if they're going to introduce all this stuff that they're not going to concentrate enough on the character himself, but I guess we'll see. So let's talk indie books.
Okay.
What kind of indie books do I talk about?
The Devilers. Did anybody else get that one?
Dang it, no, I didn't, and I'm really wishing I would have.
Oh.
How is it?
Well, I mean, of course, it sets up like a good joke. A priest, a rabbi, an Amen, a Buddhist, and there's 7 of them total. So like one from every faith plus somebody who doesn't believe in God at all. It starts out with a man who's lost his faith is talking to a Catholic priest, and he tells him, he explains like, this happened for this reason, this happened for this one. It's all science. That's what all these are. And he relates a story, though, that sounds like he saw a demon when he was a child during an accident. And the demon touched him, left him a mark, and healed him. And so he goes, so it's really tough to believe that, They x-rayed, they can see the bones were broke, they're healed, but he's got this mark on his chest. And while he's talking to this guy, all of a sudden they show on the TV the Vatican's on fire. It's sinking into the ground. A cardinal comes to him and says that they have to hurry up and go there. They get to the Vatican via a demon transport. And that was interesting because the Catholic priest sees it, and then the agnostic or atheist doesn't see it until he touches the priest's hand, and that's the priest's gift. The priest can see him, and they get there, and there's all these demons coming out, and the cardinal mentions, well, we signed a deal with the devil, and of course he lived up to his name, and he's a prince of all lies, and now they're all coming out. And then all of a sudden, all these other people start teleporting in, and it seems like half of them know what's going on, and half of them don't. And because some of them, are reluctant in their faith, and some of them have been studying since they were very young. But so it's a quick team book, and it leaves you at that on what are they gonna do? So
sounds interesting.
Yep.
I like the writer, so I kind of kicking myself for not having picked it up.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. I think where it's going. The art in it is all right, but I think it's almost a little too much. I think it may come down to the colorist, and it's just a little smeary, I think, in some places, or it's too much. It's when you look at it, it's kind of tough that it's sometimes just too much, I would say, is the best way of saying it. And so if it's supposed to also be scary, much like Outcast, I think the way they're doing it isn't making it feel very scary. I think Lock and Key did a better job on making you feel eerie about the book you're reading.
Ah, I see.
So I still recommend it. I mean, it's a nearly 5-star from me, I would say.
Yeah. Let's see if I can pick that up. Cool. What else do we got? Jen, what'd you pick up in the indie books?
I've only read 2 of my indie books. So I got The Wicked and the Divine, and I read it, and I read BPRD, but that's all I got too.
So Wicked and Divine, what do we think? Second issue.
I really enjoyed this issue.
More sold on it as far as
it picked up for me quite a bit. I'm really liking the Lucifer character, and we kind of learned what happens when they incarnate, and I like the other girl who's kind of investigating what happened, trying to, free him. I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I want to say it's like Lucy, but that's not right because that's what they call. They call Lucifer. But
yeah.
Right, she's a normal girl, and she's hoping to, if not become one of them, at least be in their fold and basically live this crazy life, and then burn out with them basically when they burn out because they're gods for 2 years and then they die. Is basically what we get out of it. We get this impression that somebody supposedly is messing with them. Somebody is, obviously there's people trying to kill them because they're claiming they're gods, and of course that's an affront to other religions. So there's some religious fanatics that are trying to kill them. We saw in the last issue. In this issue, it's kind of brought out that maybe it's somebody else that's doing it. There's somebody, faking, the attempts on them. Maybe it's a big money grab. I think it's really interesting. They've all kind of grabbed a hold of little pieces of pop culture. Is their thing? So they're singers of some sorts or some sort of performers and whatnot. This issue ended really fast in a really fascinating way. She goes to see someone in the underground, one of these gods, and that god is dead already. I mean,
right?
They take her head off. So what's that all about? Is gonna be pretty crazy. Yeah, I know this book isn't for everybody. I really like it. I love the pop culture references in it, the little flirtations with Wikipedia, with just all the stuff that's right now. It's very pop culture in that sense, and these creators really kind of have a thumb on that sort of a thing, that kind of vibe, that kind of I don't know how to describe it, kind of a dance beat, kind of a living for the moment kind of a thing. And I'm enjoying it. I'm fascinated. I don't know that I'm riveted, but it's interesting, and I know there's going to be a long-term payoff in it just because of I know the creators. So, but like I said, I think it's intriguing.
I think it will only get better, as we get to know the characters more. So.
And Lucifer, Satan, that's a she, right? That's not a he, is it?
Yes, it's a woman.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, she dresses in a suit and whatnot. She's kind of made after David Bowie. Have you seen the variant cover? I don't know if it's a variant cover for this one or another one, where it's modeled after a David Bowie mugshot. That was kind of cool. That was kind of cool.
Yeah,
if you're a Bowie fan, and I am, so that was pretty awesome. So Rat Queens. I know that Devin. I know you picked up Rat Queens, right?
Love it. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So what was good about this issue of Rat Queens?
I don't. It's continuing the story. It's interesting. I like at the end of the last issue, which seems like forever ago at this
It does,
point,
doesn't it? Yeah.
It ended off on a cliffhanger of you meeting Dee's husband. Just like, what? But it was interesting seeing how she was supposedly different before. Now she was a much different person. It's character development, and I like that. And seeing character interactions between Hannah and Tizzy again, that was funny.
Right.
Like I think it was the first or second issue or something like that. Just like them always at each other's throat. We finally get to see what happened to Sawyer, I believe his name is. I really can't quite remember, but the captain.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And like he's been tortured. I don't want to say tortured, but he's been
Well,
captured.
he's all bloodied up. He's got blood running down his face and whatnot. So he's obviously not had a good time.
It hasn't been pleasant for him. And then we're learning more about this background, this character who was in the background of the first story arc. Like, he didn't show up till close to the end, very close to the end. He was just like, oh, more stuff is happening than what you think. And, you know, from a story point, it is coming along, and I did really enjoy that. In terms of just, like, funniness, I thought it was hilarious when Betty was hallucinating, and she started eating Violet's hair.
Right. Yeah, she hallucinates that Violet is basically Candy Girl. Her head is this giant peppermint, wafer,
Yeah.
and she's wearing a chocolate dress with sprinkle sequins on it. And she's like, and she's getting all busy with her, like, oh yeah. She's like, she's hitting on her, and then of course the last second she's chomping on her face because of course Betty loves drugs and Betty loves candy and girls, so that was all hilarious. The fight scenes in it are great. The art is absolutely fabulous. There's a good brawl scene here between the second in command of the Watch Guard. Somebody is attacking her, and she basically beats them all up, which was awesome watching her kick ass. If you like reading any books, if you think you're interested in a female Thor kicking the crap out of people, pick up this book because it really does have chicks laying it down on people just like any of the dudes do. So it's awesome for that. I love it for you got these tentacles here.
Yeah.
Her religion obviously like worships like the equivalent of Call of Cthulhu's dark ones or things that aren't supposed to be mentioned and all that kind of stuff. And so at the end of this, of course, we get these really bad stuff has happened. These portals have been opened up. Tentacles are jetting down from all over the place, and big giant squid monsters are coming to get them.
Oh, dude, that looked so awesome. I was like, dude, I love the art in this book.
Yeah, the big old giant monster that's coming to get the town. So it's gonna be epically fun. It's just fun. They're fun characters. I love how rude and crass they are. They just have no problem with giving people the finger and telling them to F off, and it's just a great fun book for all that. And you're right, and there is these character development, things too. They're obviously every single one of these characters is way more complex than just being a drinking, drug using, sex machine, beat 'em up type person. I mean that's their front, that's what they give everybody. But every single issue has moments in it where you find out these real things about them being actually real people and not just these kind of shallow, stereotypical D&D facades that the book is based around, but they play with that and whatnot. So that is cool. It's a great book. If you aren't picking it up in singles, pick it up in the trades.
Yes, definitely.
BPRD, Hell on Earth. You said you read this one, Jen?
Yeah.
Second part to this like 2-part little story that they gave us. I enjoyed the issue. I kind of like these kind of one-off little stories that have our characters in it, but it isn't directly tied to the whole Earth falling apart kind of thing. It's kind of its own little mystery because they have these every so often. They'll have these where it's just like, granted, there's this big plot going on, but there's still these other weird bump in the night kind of weird crap that goes on that they have to deal with in some sense, and sometimes the only way they deal with it is it blows itself up kind of thing, and that's to some degree what happens in this one. I enjoyed it. liked it quite a bit. I like the little back moments, that kind of the Hellboy moment where he kind of takes care of the problem in the past. That's kind of ooh. And he's a young kid, taking care of this guy. So that part was kind of interesting. Like I said, I just really enjoy BPRD. I think it's a solid book all the time.
Yeah, it's really good, and the art's interesting. It tells the stories well, and I love it. I wish I had been on it like a lot sooner.
Yeah. A lot of trades to pick up.
Yeah. I've been wanting
I guess that or either that or start hunting singles. I don't know how hard it is to find singles of the book. I have no idea, but
yeah, I don't know. I think I'm probably gonna just go with the trades because that's a lot of issues.
Yep, it is. It is, since it's on 121 now. But don't let that scare you. If you want to get on the book, Jen just jumped in. Just jump in. You'll figure it out. Ask questions. There's enough people around reading it now. They can fill you in if you're at all interested. It's a good book. It's a good book. If you like occult type stuff at all, it hits all of those beats almost all the time. The occult type things and things blowing up. How can you go wrong?
Well, and it seems a lot like with indies, that's the easiest thing. They steer away from the superheroes, so they all, like Outcast, the Devilers, and BPRD, it's all a little bit of that touch of occult.
For sure. For sure. I mean, Hellboy himself falls into the realm of superhero to some degree. Abe Sapien kind of does too at times, just because they are more powerful, stronger than the average Joe. But yeah, but it's definitely different. Definitely different. The only other, I picked up 2 other independent books. One of them I haven't read. I haven't read Stray Bullets, Killers. I know very few other people who read that book. I haven't read it yet. Have been enjoying it. And the other book I picked up Black Market.
How was that?
It's a Boom Studio book. Frank Barbary does the writing on it. He does 5 Ghosts. He was also writing on White Suits. He's also done, I think, the Marvel Secret Avengers annual that had Doctor Strange in it. I think he just wrote it too. Victor Santos did the artwork on it. Interesting book. I mean, a great cover here, with like a superpowered guy, like Superman inside the syringe. The concept seems somewhat like this concept's been like used a lot or been flirted with a lot here recently. So you got the world, bad stuff's going on in it. Superheroes show up, or people dress up in costumes, start being superheroes. They kind of protect the city, start to fight back some of the crime in the world. Supervillains show up, make things more difficult. Then actual, real, honest-to-God superheroes show up, people with powers, because at this point there weren't anybody with powers. People with powers show up, and it kind of changes the world. They kind of clean house, beat up most of the stuff. There aren't too many problems left in the world and whatnot. It's kind of the premise of the world. And you get this guy who is working as a mortician. He was it seems to me like he worked for the police department at one point, but for some reason we don't know yet. He's been fired. His wife has MS. He basically spends all of his time working in the morgue, in a mortuary, or trying to take care of his wife. His older brother shows up. His older brother is somebody who gets in lots of trouble all the time, proposes this job. Hey, I got this job we can do. It's on the up and up. We're working for this chemical company and whatnot. And basically, they're out to snatch some superhero blood because they've got some idea that they take the superhero blood, they can synthesize it, and they can cure everything. Because the superhero blood is going to fix MS. That's what the selling point to this guy, who's the brains, because it'll fix his wife. But they can cure cancer. They can all be superheroes. There's no reason the superheroes should be keeping it all to themselves. So he's kind of somewhat innocently going along with this snatch a superhero. They get this superhero inside this burning building. They kind of get him knocked out. They figure out what his weakness is. Too much heat, and he passes out. They snatch him up, and they're going to steal his blood. So they start to steal his blood. The main character is under the impression they're going to take just a little bit and then let him go, drop him off someplace, and he's going to wake up and be okay. After he leaves, the brother and this goon that he has, the older brother and this goon he has working for him, they're going to take all the guy's blood. They're taking it all. They're taking everything from him. That's where the book ends at, basically, with them deciding they're going to take all the blood out of him. They're going to drain him dry. This is a miniseries. It's 1 of 4. So, I don't know. It seems like the concept of let's grab some superhero blood so we can all be superheroes. I don't know why that feels like I've heard that a lot lately, but maybe I haven't. It's okay. It wasn't riveting. It's 4 issues. I'm probably going to pick up the other 4 issues. The art is fine. Yeah, I don't know. It's okay.
With the pacing of this book, do you feel it's going to be okay over just 4, or do you think that's too compressed?
I don't think so. I mean, I guess. I mean, this is all set up. This all sets it up. Now we got 3 issues to deliver whatever we're going to deliver. It might be. I don't know. Because the thing that's weird is this is the most writing that I have seen this writer write, Barbary, where he actually literally is writing stuff. Because I don't know if any of you guys read Five Ghosts. In Five Ghosts, right, there's only a little bit of dialogue, only a little bit of boxes. Most of it's told through this dynamic art. And I'm sure he's responsible for saying we need this kind of whatever, but it's really the dynamic art. And when I read White Suits, it was the dynamic art. That's what was really telling most of the story, was this kind of crazy dynamic art. And so this was really interesting because this artist isn't really dynamic. I mean, even that annual with Doctor Strange, it had Rudio on the art, and Rudio is just like the next J.H. Williams as far as these crazy panels, and that's really dynamic art. So this is interesting. It's more reliant on his writing. So I don't know. I don't know what that's going to be like. I mean, I'm not sure how, 3 issues, if you're going to be able to tell a story fast enough in that to get it out. But I haven't 100% decided what they're really going to tell me. I mean, this sets up a situation, but it doesn't tell me, kind of what the book is going to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a good question, and the book doesn't answer it, so I really can't tell you. I mean, it could. 4 issues is tough to tell a story, and I mean, to some degree, in this day and age, it seems to be with new characters and stuff. It's I mean, I think you can tell a Batman story in 1 issue because everybody knows Batman, so you're not having to cover a lot of ground. Whereas this one, it's all new people and all new stuff. But, trying to tell a full, complete story sometimes is a little more challenging. So, not that it can't be done.
Yeah, 4 just seems like the last issue really has it tied up quickly. So.
Or it just leaves it on some crazy cliffhanger.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Leaves you with a bunch more questions, and that's how it ends. Yeah. Manifest Destiny.
Manifest Destiny. Yep.
Talk to me.
They got the group split in 2. There's people on the boat and then people on the shore. They had hit another St. Louis style arch in the water, so they're trying to get off. They were trying to get off the arch, and Lewis and Sacagawea and a couple people are now on shore, and you get a little bit more knowledge on them, and they figure out that the monster is some giant toad underneath, so they can't get across. They try and do a rope across. Somebody decides to Shanghai a rope and then slide over real quick, and the toad pulls them out of the air, and so they know they can't do that. So it's got a little bit of that Lost feel. It's they keep introducing all these weird monsters that get them, and it was all right, and you actually end up hating one of the soldiers, Travis, more than your prisoner that you didn't like.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And
that guy's a dirtbag, so I can't imagine.
Yeah, and within 1 issue, the soldier who's supposed to protect a girl, he goes to make an advance and he gets killed right away. So it's like everything you wanted to happen to that dirtball prisoner didn't happen. It happened to the soldier instead. It's all right. It's definitely got that Lost feel. It continues along. The pacing seems good. I'm still liking it fairly decently. I mean, it's gone to a 4 to maybe a 3 star.
So they haven't gotten very far into America, have they?
No, they haven't. So that's the thing.
Into the Louisiana Purchase, yeah.
Right, yeah. They get to the big St. Louis Arch. Now that made me wonder: was that really the St. Louis Arch, or are they going to keep are they going to keep coming across all these arches? Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, they could still be just out of Louisiana instead. So. Right.
Huh. If they ever make it to my neck of the woods, I may have to pick the book back up again, just out of
All right.
just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I know. I'm in South Dakota. I'm worried they'll never make it that far.
Right,
but
they're not gonna make
I'll
it
let
that
you
far.
know.
The book will get canceled before they make it there, or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. Maybe they'll wait and kill your prisoner just for your episode. So.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So, any independent news we got heard about? I know we're going to get a bunch here coming up pretty quick, right? Because right before San Diego Comic-Con, of course, Image is wisely doing their Comic Expo, and so they'll talk books before the whole zoo of the San Diego Comic-Con. So we'll be getting a bunch of information out of them coming up.
In The Life After, Travis, I know that you read that. I know we were really cut on time because we covered just about everything last week. So I knew that we didn't cover I Was the Cat. Are you interested in I Was the Cat comic book coming out?
Yes.
That looks awesome. I'm gonna get that probably.
Yes.
Got it.
I did have to check online to even see what this was about. It's the reporter gets a message from a mysterious figure that wants to do a biography, and so once she feels weird about it, but she finally meets up with the person. Well, it's not a person, it's a cat, and it's all about the life of the cat.
That sounds phenomenal.
Yes,
it does. It does. Now, remind me, is that all one book? I mean, is that like or is it multiple issues, or is it just like a single? Because didn't that get released like digitally first or something?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if it was. I just went to the Oni page to check it out.
Yeah, I haven't.
I mean, it says coming to the shelves August 6th. I guess I could see that. I really don't know. I mean, I'm surprised, but I guess they like to do different things, so that'll be different.
Yeah, well, Oni Press definitely has got no fear of putting out
weird things.
Putting out different books that aren't. They don't put out a lot of books, and they're not shy from putting out whatever kind of things. Everything from Six Gun to Scott Pilgrim, to all different kinds of stuff. So they're
Yeah, I guess
whatever.
I missed out on Red Rover Charlie, so this is my chance to make sure I get on the forefront of a good comic. So
yeah, it sounds fun. It just sounds fun. I mean, it's the whole idea that it's the cat and whatnot that just amuses me. So I'll definitely be checking it out for sure.
For sure. Otherwise, not much I could think of. So
yeah. So I think probably next week we may have a lot to talk about because of that whole Image Expo maybe, and then we'll be going into the San Diego, and I don't know how much comic stuff comes out of that, but we know other media type stuff comes out of the San Diego Zoo at that time of the year, so that'll be entertaining. But I think we'll call it a night. We've talked some books, and we'll come back next week and talk more books. Thank you all for coming and watching. Thank you guys for coming and talking books with me. I appreciate it. And everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Night.